All right, let's talk about something we hear all the time, relationship goals. But today, we're going to go way beyond those picture-perfect images. We're going to get into what it really means to feel connected, not just with other people, but with ourselves. So let's just start with a really powerful question. Take a second and be honest with yourself on this one. In your most important relationships, do you feel secure and energized, or do you walk away feeling drained and depleted? Your gut answer to that is the key to everything we're about to unpack.
And this is the big shift right here. We have to redefine what a relationship goal even is. It's not about finding that one perfect person or having a big circle of friends. The real goal, the ultimate goal, is to create connections where you feel fundamentally relaxed and secure. It's all about the feeling, not the status or the label.
Okay, so that sounds good in theory, right? But how do we actually do it? Well, to make this super practical, we're going to build out a really simple but powerful 4-part framework. Think of it as a roadmap to start looking at your own connections in a whole new way.
So here they are, our 4 pillars. First, and most importantly, it all starts with the self-relationship, how you relate to you. From there, we'll look at building quality connections. Then we get into something that's absolutely crucial, boundaries and respect. And finally, we'll talk about creating a balanced exchange. Let's dive into each one.
Let's start with pillar number 1, which is really the foundation for everything else, your relationship with yourself. Now, I know it might seem a little counterintuitive when we're talking about connecting with others, but trust me, before we can build anything healthy on the outside, the real work has to start on the inside.
And this just says it all, doesn't it? Imagine if this was your goal. It has nothing to do with achieving something external. It's all about changing that inner voice. From one of self-blame to one of self-compassion. Seriously, how much would things change if you just started treating yourself with a little more gentleness?
Okay, now for our second pillar, quality connections. This is where we start to see how that internal work we just talked about starts to ripple outward. Once you begin to strengthen that relationship with yourself, you can be much more intentional about the quality of your connections with other people.
This really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? The goal isn't to have this massive social circle. It's about having maybe just a few core relationships where you can be your true, authentic self, where you can speak your mind without feeling like you have to put up your guard or defend everything you say. So yeah, what we're really talking about is this big shift from superficial to sincere. It's about moving away from relationships that feel like an obligation, the ones you just have to maintain, and moving towards ones that are built on a real, genuine connection, creating that safe space to just be you.
And that leads us perfectly into pillar number 3, boundaries and respect. Now, this one is huge, and honestly, it can be really tricky for a lot of us. The big question here is, how do we stay close to the people we love without completely losing ourselves in the process?
This slide just lays out the difference so clearly. On one hand, you have healthy closeness. That's where you can connect deeply with someone while still honoring your own needs, your own limits. But then there's that danger zone, losing yourself, where you start tolerating things you shouldn't, always saying yes to keep the peace, and slowly just erasing who you are. That's not connection. That's something else entirely.
And finally, our 4th pillar is all about creating a balanced exchange. We all know relationships are supposed to be a two-way street, but it is surprisingly easy to fall into these really rigid roles, right? Where one person is always the giver, the caretaker, and the other is always the one taking.
I mean, what a powerful goal. This is all about breaking that rigid pattern. It's about understanding that being strong doesn't mean you can never receive help. The real goal is a healthy flow, a dynamic where you can give support, but just as importantly, you can allow yourself to be cared for too.
Okay, so we've covered our 4 pillars, we've talked about the theory, now let's get personal. Let's take this entire framework and start turning it into a real vision for your life. I want you to really sit with this question for a moment. If you could fast forward 1 year from today, and your relationships just felt warmer, more secure, closer, what's the very first tiny step you would need to take to get there? Where would you start? And as you're thinking about that, just remember this key insight. It's so tempting to immediately think about a partner or a friend or a family member, but so often the most powerful place to start all of this work is right back where we began, at pillar number 1, with yourself. I'll just leave you with this final thought. It's such a profound reminder, isn't it? That at the end of the day, what really makes for a life well lived isn't just a list of our accomplishments. It's the quality of our health and our connections with others. Setting these kinds of meaningful goals is a true investment in what actually matters. So what's one small step you can take today?